Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Slow Your Roll. I'm Alex.
I'm Cody.
And today we're going to be talking about the Wish spell.
Yes, the Wish spell. Most DMs avoid it like it's the plague, and it's often reserved for more high-level play, or situations that are high-level play. But what if you kind of just flip that whole script right on its head? What if you give it to your players as the very first thing they can do in-game, or even at session 0? So we're going to dive into exactly what that might look like. We're going to basically just kind of go over why you would want to do this, how to do it, and then some of the finer details, and we'll give examples, along the way as well. But other than that, let's get into it.
Absolutely. And first we have to start off with, why the heck would you do this? It's some of the most powerful magic in the game, and you're starting off with it. The reason to do something like this can be a few different reasons, but mainly it's just a way to introduce your characters into the world building of the setting. It's almost like latching on to them and saying, hey, what do you want? Just in a more game mechanic type of a way. They could wish for literally anything, like if they wanted to be the king of a kingdom, or maybe this setting was going to be in the prehistoric ancient jungle. There's a bunch of different things that they could wish for, and that's how you guys can collectively decide what kind of game you're going to be playing. And if they're wishing for some specific things, there might be a few strings attached. This isn't necessarily wish for $1 million and you get $1 million. You might have to defend that $1 million at some point. And once everybody has a talk about the expectations of the game and what it's gonna look like, you might as well figure out how you're gonna do it.
Yes, exactly. In fact, like Alex mentioned, basically they can get their wish, whatever it is, like the $1 million thing, but maybe they'll have to defend it. Pretty much it's just going to be the wish and then the issue with the wish, which leads you into how exactly you would do this. And first off, it's very important that you would discuss and explain to the players exactly how you would set the expectations for this game. You could give them a scenario if you already have an idea of how they could come upon the wish ring or whatever, if their characters already know each other when the game starts. But basically, you just need to make sure your players know that they're gonna get this crazy wish spell, their wish is going to come true, and because of their wish, whatever world they flesh out with it, there's going to be issues based on that wish. And this is an excellent spot for you and the players to actually be able to immediately start working together, even in the world building phase. Now again, when you're discussing with the players, you're going to want to be very clear that there needs to be like a balance of power and narrative and things like that. Like, they can be as powerful as they want to be, based on the wish spell, of course, but make sure to let them know they still need to be appropriately challenged, or the game is not going to be fun.
Yeah, that's totally true. And honestly, your characters are gonna come to the table with a backstory of some sort, and they're probably not gonna wish for the problem in their backstory to immediately be fixed or solved. They're not just gonna wish away the one problem in their backstory that made them who they are. And if they did, what would they do in the game?
Yeah, if anything, this gives them the ultimate opportunity to decide exactly how the issue in their backstory comes about. So another example, let's say your wizard wishes for ultimate knowledge and reveals ancient secrets, and in doing this, they're able to make an entire futuristic city powered by magic and things like that. But maybe the issue that comes about and is even worked into their backstory now is that because the city came into power so quickly, the lowly suffer immensely. Like, the lower class are just terribly suffering, and they cause their own issues because of that.
Yeah, or it's called Atlantis.
Exactly. Essentially, the concept is, at this point, once the players make their wish, now you decide exactly all of the crap that happens because of it. All the issues and things that they're going to have to face. That comes up right now, and it looks something along these lines.
So if everything works out, all of the players are going to have a wish that we're going to be able to mold and craft into the world building. And the world building is always still going to kind of be on the DM to figure out and, tweak. But the fact that you already have a head start given to you by your players is amazing. And this is when it gets to be fun as a world builder, because they just asked for a kingdom, let's say. Now you get to be the genie that says, all right, you're king of the castle, but the castle's surrounded. Get ready. There's lots of different consequences that could be had from different types of wishes, and I always found wishes to be super fun when you kind of think of it like it's a trickster god or a genie trying to give you this wish. And if you're not exactly sold on the idea, here's a couple different examples that your players might even wish for. Maybe they could wish to be level 1, 5, 7, or level 0. Maybe they could wish for a specific setting that you guys haven't tried before. Or maybe they could wish for high or low fantasy. You really do get an insight into what your players are thinking and what kind of game they really want to have.
And of course, you might already be thinking, well, these are things that you would just do to start a campaign anyway. But this is a really interesting way to bring it into a new light for your characters, to say that, like, hey, maybe you already know each other. Maybe you've already been through a bunch of crap together or whatever else. This is a very specific, you have all of the power to make the world in just like a different perspective to present to your players, instead of just saying, okay, what do you guys want to do for this campaign?
Absolutely. And honestly, a really good way to do that, instead of just saying, hey, you guys have one wish, how are we going to start the campaign? You could just straight up start the story. Could be going through like a dungeon, a temple, or something else, and then there's 5 player characters, and there just happens to be 5 rings in the bag. Each one of them has a gem glowing brightly. And, you know, maybe the first person to say, I wish, activates the ring. It could be something that you could jump on your players, but maybe just let them know that that's the most powerful thing in the game and you might want to use it correctly. But no matter what your characters do, there's going to be so much room for character growth and a few moral dilemmas along the way, especially if they wish for all the wealth in the kingdom. Now the peasants are poor.
Yeah, so to make sure that everything's kind of just tied together with some of the specifics, you'll probably end up seeing something along these lines. There are going to be ethical implications and a bunch of unintended consequences to their wish. And again, this isn't something you should like hide from the players necessarily. Like, say this is going to happen, even if you don't say exactly what it is that happens. For an example, maybe the backstory for the barbarian, the reason they have all the aggression they have is because they lost a loved one. So they wish to revive the loved one, but you know how that goes. Tampering with life and death. There's going to be some weird dark secret, and maybe that person ends up evil. Like I said, there's going to be ethical implications to their wish.
We've all played Baldur's Gate 3.
Exactly. So again, in the final steps, you're just going to be determining the impact on the character arcs based on this too. Again, some of the finer details to iron out as things are wrapping up with this. Like maybe said barbarian instead wishes for just power to lead society and responsibility and everything else, and that's going to bring about a bunch of responsibility and maybe even temptation. This can be a spot where you iron out the deeper specifics with one character that might fall victim to said temptation. Maybe that player even wants to become the villain at some point in the game. Which kind of leads into the final point of how you wrap up the thoughts here. Let this be an awesome opportunity for your players and you to decide some of the really cool plot hooks. And they can even keep secrets between each other and plot with you to further the campaign.
That would be so cool if 4 people were immediately like, I wish for this, and then one person was like, I'll text you later.
Exactly. Plus, players absolutely love to kind of like be in cahoots with the GM about something kind of secretive. It's always fun, storytelling for the GM and the player. But again, as the GM, if you're trying to be a better GM all the time, one of the most important things is to just give your players opportunities to be creative. Let them go through creative challenges to figure out exactly what they want to do in a game. And this is a good way to do that.
I totally agree. And if the players are going to throw a wrench in the game, you might as well let them do it right off the bat. It's the easiest time to deal with it.
It actually is.
But hey, thank you guys for watching. If you have any ideas that you might want to add to the wish concept for this video, please leave it down below. We're always looking for suggestions. But until next time, everybody, I've been Alex with Slow Your Roll.
And Cody over here.
And we'll see you all later.
Later, everybody. What would you wish for?